Republicans scored a major political victory Saturday when the Senate passed its own version of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act. Only one Republican, Senator Bob Corker, Tennessee, voted against the legislation. Because the Senate bill and House bill, which the lower chamber passed in November, differ, appointed members of each house will meet this week as part of a conference committee and possibly next week as well to hammer out the details of one final bill, which will then need to be passed by both the House and Senate before going to President Trump's desk. The new bill can contain only provisions that at least one of the existing bills already contains, and nothing that currently appears in both the House and Senate bills can be removed. In previous articles, I've written about the significant benefits of the House plan, which I believe is the most important tax reform legislation passed in this country since the 1980s. The Senate's bill is less impressive and contains some significant disadvantages that will hopefully be fixed during the conference committee process. Below is a fair and well-researched overview of the good, bad, and ugly of the Senate's bill passed on Saturday. Not every provision in the bill can be discussed here, but the most noteworthy aspects of the legislation are covered. The good, like the House's bill, the Senate bill would implement significant tax cuts for the overwhelming majority of taxpayers and businesses in the country. The Senate bill would retain the current tax code 7 brackets, but it would cut rates in every bracket except for the lowest, which would continue to pay 10% of income. The new brackets would be 10%, 12%, 22%, 24%, 32%, 35% and 38.5%. For the income levels that apply to each bracket, go here. Although analyses vary widely, almost everyone, including left-leaning think tanks, agree that the average taxpayer in every tax bracket will receive a tax cut. That means most Americans will end up keeping more of their own money. Under the Senate's plan, many of the existing deductions will be removed, although not as many as in the House bill. This is a good thing, because the more deductions that exist, the more carve-outs there will be for special interest groups and the more difficult it is for people to navigate the labyrinth of tax rules. To make up for the lost deductions, the standard deduction would be roughly doubled. The new standard deduction would be $12,000 for single filers, $18,000 for heads of household, and $24,000 for joint filers. Increasing the standard deduction ensures most low and middle income people will not have to pay additional taxes and will benefit from a more simplified code. The use of exemptions are eliminated in both the House and Senate bills, which also helps to simplify the code. Under current law, itemized deductions only apply if a filer chooses not to take the standard deduction, so by doubling the standard deduction, fewer taxpayers will need to worry about itemized deductions while continuing to enjoy greater tax benefits than what they receive currently. Two advantages the Senate bill has over the House bill are that the Senate bill keeps and improves the medical expense deduction, which lowers the tax burden for people with very high medical bills. Like the House bill, the Senate bill also increases the child tax credit, but the Senate's legislation boosts the credit to $2,000 per child and doesn't phase it out for joint filers until income reaches $500,000. The House bill's credit maxes out at $1,600 and begins to phase out at $230,000. Tax credits are important for middle and lower income families, especially single-parent households, and the Senate's increased credit amount all but guarantees most lower-income filers with children won't pay any taxes. Many middle-income families with kids will also pay no federal income taxes. Perhaps the best part of the Senate's bill is that it reduces income tax rates for corporations and small businesses, an important measure to spur economic growth. Under the Senate's plan, corporations will pay only 20%. Compared to 35% today. This will help ensure corporations don't leave the United States because our tax code will be much more competitive globally and will likely draw corporations to America that previously decided against having significant operations here to avoid our high tax rates. Reducing the corporate rate will also free up billions of dollars for U.S. corporations to hire new employees, innovate and expand. Further, lowering corporate taxes will likely continue the stock market's historic rise, which is incredibly important for anyone with a retirement account. As Stephen Moore, a senior fellow at the Heritage Foundation, Noted recently for the Washington Times, there are about 55 million Americans with 401k plans, 20 million have IRAs, and 20 million more have pensions. These investment